Hello everyone, Burb here. I did not realize the Selector ticket was today, so I am doing this in emergency format, which means I built these slides rather quickly. I'm going to do my best to go and share my opinion on what I would do if I had a Selector ticket based on the LB copies of SSR cards that I currently own. I will be doing this card by card, and I did go and get some help from a bunch of people in the Team Velocity Discord to put together this slide presentation, so special thanks to them. But there's a lot to go through, and this is probably already going to be a half an hour to an hour late, so let's go and talk about the first ante, for 1.5 ante selector. Apologies. So the 1.5 ante selector can choose any card, any SSR card, up to the release of Summer Marzensky Speed and Nakayama Festa Wit. This ticket does not expire. This quest will not expire either. Even on JP Klein, if you start a run now, you will have a 1.5 ante selector ticket quest that you can then complete. I believe all you have to do is get the scenario spark for Grand Live in a run, which you can use auto for, and it should go and complete that quest for you. So what should you use this selector ticket on? What I would use it on is the following. Now, the biggest thing to note is deck saturation. This is what I talked about in the Tokai Teo video a little bit, but you are basically looking to fill out this Grand Live deck, and in the future, you are looking to fill out a deck of basically 2 speed, roughly 2 wit, and a free slot, and usually the scenario mechanic card. The scenario mechanic card changes every scenario. The speed cards and wit cards sometimes do, but you will always need at least one of each of those types, if not 2, mostly in the speed itself. So your priorities usually are speed cards, wit cards, and then the utility cards, whether it be stamina for longs or power cards, etc., or guts, depending on what skills that they give you. But we're going to talk about a few of them. First of all, also just so you know, if you are in the longs right now, you're probably already doing this. You have 2 speed, 2 wit, and a utility card in Super Creek because you actually need the stamina from Super Creek. To note, most SSR cards actually activate at 3LB. If you have less than 3LB, a lot of times those SR cards are just better than them. So a lot of the breakpoints are at 3LB, with the exception of a few cards that I will go and talk about, which I will note. First of all, the big 3. We talked about this in the previous video. That's in the top right corner if you want some additional info, but some things have changed. The big 3, Kidus in Black, Super Creek, and Fine Motion still do apply, and most likely you picked up a copy or 2 of these along your time playing the game, and you're probably pretty close to MLBing them if you played since the start of the game. Kidus in Black probably is one of the best options to do so, but you really want this 3LB and 4LB. MLB and 3LBs, particularly MLB, makes this card really, really great. Anything less than that, it does not have the specialty priority to keep up with all the other SR cards. This card is basically built for consistency and giving you tokens in Grand Live, and in order to do that, it has to have high specialty priority, so it goes to speed and does your friendship trainings. Also note, again, I'm going to go through this the first couple times, deck saturation. If you have more than 2 speed cards, you may want to consider a different card than even Kidus in Black, because the 3rd speed card will be good in Grand Live, will be quickly replaced by pretty much any other card in the game. So you are not necessarily, it's like wins above replacement. It's not, you're replacing something in your deck rather than getting a brand new activation, if that makes sense. Super Creek might be one of the more powerful ones because her longevity is great. Because stamina cards, you kind of just need stamina, just like stamina generation, and at the end of the day, even if you fall behind a stamina card or 2 in the meta, they still give enough stamina. Super Creek remains relevant for basically multiple years, at least as a top 3 stam card that is usable for those longs. Now, her applications are mostly for long, mediums, and long tracks, but because even like we're seeing in Grand Live, the snares don't really give you stamina very much. Super Creek is a great option as well. Particularly, you need her at 3LB or 4LB, again, because this time the initial friendship gauge. If you're trying to go and get your bond up for friendships in Grand Live in particular, all the way from 0LB, you're going to have a lot of trouble. And even the MLB version will give you a ton, basically 2 full taps worth of friendship for free, which means you're getting to your friendships more, especially since it is a utility card in Grand Live, so you're not going to be tapping on it as much as your other cards. Fine Motion 3LB is great because it activates the card, in my personal opinion. That's where it gets above all the SR cards, but MLB I think is just luxury. It is just mood effect. There probably is another card in your deck that you can activate, whereas this is just kind of a completionist thing. Now note, I will be probably MLBing my Fine Motion because That's just kind of what's left on my account. And there is something to be said of you have limited deck slots and you need to be MLBing the cards eventually in order to reach their full potential. But 3LB is an activation point for fine motion. MLB is just some additional stats above it. It's about 50 extra wit. Some new additions to the list that we didn't talk about in the first anniversary are, the big one is Mr. CB. If you are going and you're pretty new to the game and you are trying to jump ahead, perhaps you just pulled on Agnes Tachyon and Light Hello, and you have a good Agnes Tachyon and a decent Light Hello, perhaps you are re-rolling on this. Mr. CB is an absolutely incredible card at 1LB+. She has wit bonus built into her kit, and she gets an additional wit bonus at 1LB, making her have a SP bonus and 2 wit bonus. This is a ridiculously good wit card that also is good and basically linearly scales from 2LB+. I did an entire breakdown of the CB card as well that kind of showed that this was a linearly scaling card after 1LB, but because of its power at the first limit break, which is 2 copies, you could even consider crystalling this. I'm not going to suggest crystals in this video. That will be a separate video, but Mr. CB, what I would say is I would hold on to your selector until you form your own opinion using other sources as well. But if you are looking for a wit card, this is the most accessible wit card in the game right now because you really only need first limit break in order to go and activate it, okay? Marzensky Speed is sort of the same way for speed cards. The difference between wit and speed is you need a lot more speed, and Marzensky Speed at 1LB doesn't really have the stat output required to meet the threshold for crystalling, whereas, like I said, I'm kind of on the fence with Mr. CB. Marzensky Speed, after talking with a lot of people, I don't think you should be crystalling this card from nothing. You shouldn't just select a crystal. Even if you're a front player, you should just really plan on pulling for the rerun. Honestly, this card is linearly scaling up to 3LB, like I said. The power bonus is at 1LB, which is nice, but again, that we're kind of focused on speed right now in Grand Lives, so this needs to be a little better than just a source of top runner because it is a speed card. So first limit break is good. It's good to Selector. Don't crystal it. Third limit break is good. You can consider crystalling it because it starts adding the additional friendship and mood effect and stuff, but again, not going to suggest crystals here. And MLB is, of course, luxury because, as we did in the Marzensky breakdown, it doesn't actually give you too much extra after that. Nakayama Festa Wit, if you can get an MLB, it's a good card. It almost requires MLB to be used consistently in a deck. And also note, this is a very Gamba card. If you just want to have some fun and you have nothing else, you could get this 1LB as well. Taiki Shuttle is an incredible card, specifically for miles for frontrunners and pace chasers. Because it's that niche, you have to basically be a frontrunner or pace chaser main to get additional value from the skills. And of course, there's not as many mile CMs. You need this card. I mean, this card's more niche than the other cards is what I'm trying to say. MLB is great because the stat output on this card at MLB is a lot better than most of the cards in the game at that point. But before that, it is not that great. So requires final limit break for this. If you somehow have it, it is a good selector choice. Seeking the Pearl, it's probably your lowest priority as late surger. It's been talked about. I almost put this on the list as a luxury pick, but after looking at it and talking with people, I've been dissuaded because you should probably just be borrowing this if you're going to run it for the skills. It's really just a skill card. It doesn't really give you that much output, and its gimmick is you have maximum energy, which you're not really getting through this scenario. Harara Power is a funny card for independent training. It's probably bad, but it is a SP bonus card at 1LB. But this is just for independent training. Serious Symboli, if you somehow have it at MLB, this is quite a good card on the mediums, and there is about like half the CMs are medium tracks, and this for backliners is a source of From the Brink, which is an alternative to On Your Left for late surgers, and for end closes is probably one of the primary accelerations. It is good at MLB. It has really great friendship bonus and mood effect that puts it ahead and high enough on the wit curve to actually be relevant. And otherwise, 1LB is luxury as a skill card, but honestly, it's a little bit niche to say that when there's other options. Symboli Rudolph Stamina is kind of a cope card, but Fighting Spirit is a semi-gambly swinging maestro that is half as effective, and its stamina output is like 3/4 to 80 to 90% of a Super Creek. If you have it close to 3LB and your options are get the Super Creek to 1LB or get the Symboli Rudolph to 3LB just because the gotcha system's giving you it, for backliners you may actually want to consider Symboli Rudolph because its stamina output does actually get above SR cards a little bit at 3LB. But again, this is luxury, and I mean luxury means behind everything else I've talked about. Daiwa power is very interesting. Neck and neck buffs happened early. The verdict's still out on whether it's possible for a lot of pace chasers to run this card. 20% speed characters will love this card. Also, this card has most of the value at 1LB with the stamina bonus increase, but everything past 1LB is quite nice as well. If you're a pace chaser main, what my personal suggestion is wait about a week and let us all go and test this card for you and see if it is actually possible to run this card through Grand Live and beyond. This card, because of the neck and neck buffs, neck and neck is also on a guts card in the future, and I think you probably want to run a power card over a guts card, and I think there's some value in the future for this, but I think you should hold off just the tiniest a bit and let me and other people test this a little bit to make sure it's actually usable at this point. Nice Nature Wit, on the other hand, being on a Wit card for late surgers. If you're a dedicated late surger player, this is one of the best cards in the game for you. Even at 1LB, you do get that Wit bonus. Every single LB after that is very good. It is almost crystable. I'm not going to suggest crystals right now, maybe at a later date. This card is very good. You, as a late surger, want on your left on pretty much every single track except longs is questionable, but it's still an option. So like 90% of the CMs you're using on your left as a late surger. If you're a dedicated late surger player, you can highly consider using this selector on your card to get this to 1LB or to MLB or anywhere in between. Honestly, this is such a great card, and it is probably at the level of CB. It's just CB has better wit output in general. So that's the only problem with it. But if you are a dedicated late surger player, you should at least put this on your consider. And this is probably one I would do pretty early on in my personal priority as a late surger player. Fuku Kitara realistically is an independent training card, but also, if you have an MLB, you can kind of use it in Grand Live. You're just going to basically make your runs a lot harder because there is no specialty priority on the card, but there is actually decent output on it. It's just, this is no specialty priority in Grand Live, a little bit tough, but it is a very, very good independent training card as we're finding out. Bijin and Bakushin, Try, Bakushin, and Biko are very good at 3LB+, and if you have absolutely nothing else to get, these are stat sticks that basically don't give you anything. Yes, Bakushin will help you in the sprints with Turbo Sprint, but mostly these are here to fill out your first or second speed slot if you have need of a speed card, and because you're just starting the game out at this point. They will lose their relevance over time. Most likely, you should have been either re-rolling or at least have some level of speed cards built up if you have been playing the game for at least a little bit. These are particularly if you are trying to get that little extra boost of power just for this upcoming scenario before you have something like El Condor Speed that gives you basically your second speed card slot. Outside of that, these are basically stat sticks. Don't expect anything else from them except a temporary boost to your speed generation. Admire Vega, you should probably just throw it on Mr. CB. It's just a better card at this point, and you can't really use a power card, or it's rather disadvantageous to use a power card for anything besides a required skill for characters, so I don't suggest it. Mayano Top Gun is actually kind of decent to use for front runners. It is basically like the third best speed card for fronts at the moment, and possibly the fourth depending on the track, for the purpose of Restless in general, which doesn't work on CM17, but will work on a lot of the medium tracks when we are having trouble generating stamina and it's on a speed card. It also gives head-on, but you need this card 3LB and MLB because, again, it has like the Kiddison Black scalings where it just goes and it gives the very good stat in the last two LBs. I believe that's specialty priority, but don't quote me on that one. ZRR, I thought this was good because of the friendship bonus. The trainings apparently are really, really bad. So this is just a parent card for left-handed and right-handed, and there's probably better ways to do that, so I wouldn't suggest it. King Halo Powers, luxury for the friendship bonus on a power card. You're probably just using this in independent training, so I would not suggest this. Bijin has been demoted from good to luxury because of all the buffs to various different other accelerations. We have on your left for lates, we have neck and neck and from the brink as well, and though we have no stopping me versus nimble nav is much less important because we have other options. Now, it's still fine. It's just you're going to find you're going to have trouble using this as basically a utility card. When you're using this as a pure utility card, you don't even necessarily need too much output from it. Yes, you get the 1 whip bonus at 1 LB, but that's not really going to move the needle too much. This card's trainings are just bad in general, which is fine because all it's doing is giving you the skill. So I wouldn't personally selector this at any level, but it is there if you have absolutely nothing else to do. All the rest of the cards that I haven't really talked about, a lot of them are luxury, basically just because they are there for the skills, and a lot of them are power cards and guts cards, which are very difficult to run in this particular scenario. Pos Power is one exception. It is decent at 3LB+. It has ridiculous power generation, and it does have a great medium skill. It might be enough to put you over the hump of being able to use it in Grand Live, and you will use it in the future a little bit. Not necessarily the best card in the future because you're not going to be able to use it with Paso Speed, so there is a little bit of time in Grandmasters where you may be able to use it, but realistically, it's not really going to be the #1 priority. Also, if you have either Rice Shower Power or Vodka Power, do note they do give you Breath of Fresh Air or Swinging Maestro respectively as recoveries, as alternatives to Super Creek, but they're not necessarily as good because they don't give you as much stamina, which is the problem with it. So they're just alternatives, kind of cope, to be honest, but if you have one close to 3LB and your Super Creek is not there, this may be an option for you if you need a gold recovery, but I would put this as a lower priority. Also, someone's going to get a Kuno to 0LB no matter what I say. For priority, talked with some people on it, and I could go and give suggestions one after the other. If I was going from scratch, maybe I go and boost my Kidison Black up first, or I boost my Mr. CB up first and Kidison Black, and then I go and try to boost my Fine Motion up or my Super Creek. Realistically, what you should be looking at is your account. What do you need in order to survive pretty much this game? You need 2 speed SSR cards. Let's try this again. To survive Uma Musume, you need 2 very good SSR speed cards at high limit break 3LB MLB. You need a singular wit card at 3LB or MLB. The reason why that's less is because the SR versions of wit cards are generally better than the SR speed versions of cards. So Sweep Tosho is a great card, but you know what's better is Fuku Kitaru Wit. It has just better wit output, for example. After that, you need some sort of utility card. Most likely that should be Super Creek to try to get your stams for the longs. And of course, you need a 0LB copy of Light Hello. Whatever you choose, your primary goal is to activate one of these cards. So if you are at like just Agnes Tachyon, you probably want a speed card in order to get the second speed card. If you are at nothing whatsoever, your first activation may be Mr. CB Wit to get you up there. You just need to go and try to fill this out. That's really the recommendation that I can give you at the moment. Unfortunately, every single person is different, and I know that's a cop-out answer, but to help out with that, each player is going to be different. If you want to put your actual situation and where your account is, I will put a link to the Discord. I don't normally advertise the Discord, but it kind of seems relevant here. It's going to be difficult for me to go through every single possible situation. This is in general what you should be looking for, and I've gone over every single card that I can really think of, but if you just post it there, I will try to get around to it, and I'm sure a lot of other friendly people in the community will put their different perspectives. Remember, this is just my opinion. I know a lot of other CCs have put their opinions, and I know a lot of you guys rely on me and the other CCs to try to give you good suggestions, and I've tried my best to do so in the limited amount of time, but do remember, I'm just one perspective. Take this with a grain of salt. Take other people's perspectives as well, bring them all together, and form your own opinion. Good luck, everybody. If at the worst case scenario, if you are not going to, if you're not 100% certain on what you want, feel free to wait. That ticket does not expire. And also, you might want to wait till the free polls are done, because sometimes, just like me, you just go and select your Nice Nature, and then you forget that there's free polls, and then you get a free Nice Nature anyways, and then you cleat it. So, yes, that's all. This has been the emergency video. That's why it's been kind of scuffed, to be honest, but I've tried my best. So take care, everyone. Burb out.